So I'm going to tell you a crazy story from when I was using. And these aren't going to go in any order because I can't remember them in order. But I went down to rehab a few states away from where I live. And I went with this guy named Mike that I had just met like a couple weeks before. And um, when I was down there, I used to work at the food bank. And that's like one of the very few times that the guys and the girls could interact. And I met this guy that was friends with Mike, and his name was Tony. And me and him became really good friends. And later, I ended up leaving rehab, and then Mike left rehab, and then we decided we wanted to go to to Indiana, where his son was, and I wanted to go and see my family. So we hopped on an Amtrak train, and on the way there, Tony just happened to live an hour away, and he had left rehab, which is crazy that we all lived so close, but yet we all lived so far away from Florida. But, so he just happened to live in the next state over, really close to where I live. And so when we were on the Amtrak, we called Tony and was like, hey, come over here with us. Like, get on the train and, come where we're going. And so he did. And, when we got back, where I live, there's like this abandoned hospital. Well, there's not now. But there's an abandoned hospital. And me and Mike and Tony ended up getting into it. And so me and Tony went and hung out, but we had nowhere to go. And so we went and we met up with one of my friends and we got some baclofen and we took a bunch of those. And baclofen are these pills that get you really, really high, but they make you fearless. Because trust me, I was in that hospital. It was so dark and I should have been terrified, but I was not scared one bit. And I'm pretty sure it was because I was so high. So we were like trashed, like so high, and we were walking around this hospital, and it was so dark I couldn't even see. Like I could not, if my hand was right there, I could not see. Like you could not see anything. I don't know how I didn't fall down the stairs and die, but thank the Lord I did not. But we came across a bathtub filled with all kinds of like needles and little vials of drugs and just things like that. So we took them and we went back to the hotel that Mike was staying at and we snuck in when he wasn't around. And we decided to try out the things that we had found. And we weren't looking them up really good. And so I strapped one of the little butterfly needles to me and I decided to shoot up one of the vials. And I looked it up on Google to see if it could get you high, and it said it did. So I decided to do it without really looking any further into it. And once it started going in, I started getting high, but my body started going paralyzed. Like, everything just stopped working. My arms dropped and wouldn't work. And then, like, my head dropped. Like, I couldn't hold my head up. Like, I was completely paralyzed. It was so terrifying. And then I could feel my heart, like, slowing down. And it was really hard to breathe because I couldn't even, like, I really could not move my body. It was like I could not do anything. Like, I was just completely stiff. And it turns out it was that stuff that they give you during surgery after they give you anesthesia to keep you still in case you wake up. So I had shot up a bunch of that. And, like, I was fading out and my body was completely paralyzed. And I really wanted to pick up the phone and call my mom and tell her I love her because I thought I was going to die. And somehow, at like the very brink of my passing out, I ended up coming back to and started getting control of my body back. But for a brief time, I was completely 100% paralyzed. I was blacking out and I couldn't breathe, and it was so terrifying. It was probably one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me. And I've had a lot of scary things happen to me, so you should never ever do drugs because they're definitely not good. They ruin your life, they ruin your looks, they ruin everything. So you should definitely never do drugs. But if you're going to be crazy and do them, please look them up and make sure you know what you're doing. Don't do some random crap. Because that's usually how I landed myself in really bad, scary situations, was doing random crap without looking it up or thinking about it. And Yeah, I almost died that day because I didn't feel like reading a paragraph. So always make sure you know what you're doing.